Okay, a couple people had questions on hand position and a couple other questions on the Sibat material off that last video. So I thought I'd answer them here and then show some other things that we can do with the Sibat. So I took the handle off of one of my tools and I will be using them. Okay, so in general, on hand position on a long staff spear weapon, you should be comfortable moving up and down as necessary. And that will just come with time. There's nothing fixed on it. Now, in general, though, you'll get more maneuverability when your hands are closer together. Okay, so if I was to do the 3 and 4 line, right, just like I have one pivot point on this, I'm going to be more maneuverable that way than if I have 2, because now I have to move my hands some more. But, now, obviously the same is true if I was to look at 1s and 2s coming this way and, you know, using that line as well. So you're always going to see those variations. That said, if I am fighting here and I have short time to power generate, like, you know, and again, I'm generally not going to be this way with a Sibat, the way I might be kind of with a solo baston, a single baston. A lot of times I'm going to be point oriented if I'm fighting with this. So I'll be more spread because I want to be able to thrust and move between my angles, but also on short power generation, I want push-pull between my hands to generate power on a short arc, right? And I don't have that. Yes, I have a bigger flow here, but if I want short power generation, I want to be able to push-pull. And the same is true if I want to recover. So if I did my number 1 and I'm trying to recover on the back thrust, on the broken one, right? So just like we did on that last demonstration, I slash and then I want to pull back on that thrust. If I do this with my hands together, this is a much harder recovery than this is. Okay? So down here, right? That's just leverage points. I only have a push-pull here, I have a push-pull here. Where your hands are going to be are going to depend on the length of the weapon and what your target is that you're trying to hit with it, but that's going to be an important consideration. So again, there's no one answer to this. This is going to vary a lot depending on who you are, how big your arms are, but again, if I want to be short-term here, hands together is great. And then if I want to turn around and hit, I'm going to transfer and move to a hands apart position if I need to generate that short power and leverage, right? I want to block here, redirect, re-enter. This isn't the best point to give me leverage on that. So anyway, so again, part of that is just application of what you're moving through here. As for how far off the bottom, someone was asking, like, you know, where, and I like a little bit off the bottom, maybe not quite exactly like the 3 fingers I typically use on a single stick, but somewhere down here, right? I don't want to be so close off the end that I fall off the end. I don't have a butt swell, especially on this one. When I'm moving, I will be, especially if I'm thrust oriented here, I will be, and I'm trying to maximize distance, I will be right down on the end there, here. But I also don't want to screw this up as I hand transfer off and go off the end of the weapon. The other thing that will be a consideration is people can grab your weapon when you're in here, offhand, you know, grab, and if you're sitting down at the end of the weapon, you can come off of it. So it's always nice to give yourself a little extra working room off the back. Of course, you should be able to move and change up so that you're using the butt end of the weapon when you are thrusting with that, especially if you consider this short staff a true staff and you're not necessarily prioritizing the spear end of the weapon, so that you should be able to move down and move here as necessary. Okay, so anyway, that's just a couple of bit on hand grips on that. So those are great questions. I don't think I've ever explained that in a formal setting like that. So those are good questions. Okay, next bit is other things that we can do. So we went over last time. We went over those just sort of basic cutting strikes. And so the next thing to go over is some of the essentially the equivalent of the wheat ticks, right? So these are now these angles, and so we can do the same thing. So you can work off of just like I would solo baston here, okay, here. And I usually do a 4-count form when I teach my BTX or abanico motions here. So I have a high, 2, horizontal, and a low. This low one doesn't get a lot of application with the Sibat, but the high, this one to this one, here to this one, absolutely does. So if you isolate just these two, high to high to high, and here, right, I want to make sure that I turn my hips, generate my power. Here, I can come down, here, turn, retick, coming this way. If we put in that into applications, maybe I cut here with my wheel, and again, I can cut. And if I'm going to redirect this into that fanning motion, I can do it just like this, but it's a lot easier if I have here, and then I'm shifting to that single point, right? So again, we're moving the hands along the haft. So I cut, and I cut. Here I'm going to push, and then I'm going to move down to a hands together to get my wheat tip, and out. And then I move back out wide to get my thrust in. So that's just an example of movement. It's not anything fixed. So 1, retick, slash, thrust. Okay, we can do the opposite side. Either I switch my hands, 2, right, my angle number 2, retick here, 1, thrust would be the exact opposite. I can do that with 2 here, retick, 2, thrust. I'm playing with footwork a little bit, just moving around. So now that you've started getting your thrusting lines in, look at that. 1, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Shorten it. 1, 2, 3. Well, that looks familiar. We did exactly that on our fundamentals, right? So, angle 1, hit my off angle forward. 1, 2, 3. Here. 1, 2, 3. Again, direct transferability from solo baston. Anyway, a couple more ideas. You should be able to develop this into your carenza or your flow and just play around with it, have some fun. And like I said, you don't need a Sibat. This is the handle off a hoe, I think. Yeah, so anyway, hope that helped.